Hello, 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 and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Beverly Lucas, and I am the host of For the Love of Cooking Fridays. What do I do on Friday? I try my best to show you how to make a meal, a snack, a dessert, a dish, whatever it is that I'm making in the kitchen. It is always better than the restaurant. Always better than the restaurant. So today I'm making something I think is a little simple, and it is salmon cakes. Salmon cakes originates from down south. It's more Southern cooking. So in looking at the recipes, I found all types of ingredients to put on salmon cakes. So with our salmon cakes, we are going to pair it with some grits. And I have all my ingredients in front of me, so let me introduce my ingredients to you. They are right over here, ready. So, of course, first we have our salmon. Salmon, however you want to pronounce it. I am using the canned salmon. I have made salmon cakes using fresh salmon, but it doesn't taste the same. It doesn't have the same consistency, and fresh salmon really is to have it as a fillet or a salmon steak. So for these patties, we are going to use wild caught salmon, and I'm only using one can. And what I did was I opened up the can and I had to take all the bones out of the salmon. Not only did I take off the bones, but I don't like salmon skin. So I took the time to take off all the skin. So all we have is the salmon. I am using, to bread everything, I'm using the seafood breading as opposed to just using flour. So this is already seasoned. This is what I use when I'm frying shrimp or frying haddock. So we're going to use that. In order to give the taste or the layers of flavors for the salmon, I have a few ingredients. I have some green peppers that I have chopped up. I have some red onions, which are really purple, but we have red onions. I have a little lemon. And then I found some other ingredients that I wanted to try out. I have some Dijon mustard. I also have a little mustard powder. So we're trying this for the first time. I've never used it before. We have paprika, we have garlic powder, and we have some onion powder. We're going to use those as a binder for the salmon. So we need something that's going to be able to keep everything together. I'm using 1 egg, and what I don't have pictured here is some flour. So I'm going to use a little bit of flour. Some of the recipes say to use breadcrumbs, but because I'm using the seafood breading, I don't want the breading to overtake the taste of the delicate salmon. So with our grits, I'm using old-fashioned Quaker grits because this is what I grew up on. They do have the quick grits. Sometimes I use that. Depends on the situation. I am making a serving for 2. So I'm using 2 cups of liquid. So one of the cups of liquid that I'm using is the heavy cream, and the other liquid is water. So I have that boiling on. And also when I make grits, and a lot of times when I make a lot of my vegetables, I like to use a bouillon cube. So it's 1 bouillon cube for every cup of liquid. So I have 2 bouillon cubes. And once our water starts to boil, I'm going to whisk in the grits. And that is the key. That's how you keep them smooth. So we have 2 cups of liquid, and I have a half a cup of grits, and we're gonna whisk that in. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna saute the pepper and the onions, and then I'm gonna let them cool, and then we're gonna put all the ingredients together. It's important for them to cool because if we're gonna make patties, we want them to stay together, and we are using egg, and of course we don't want the egg to begin to cook. That's all our ingredients, and we are making salmon cakes with the side of grits. So are you with me? Are you really with me? Come on and make these salmon cakes with me. Okay, our water is boiling, or our liquid is boiling. So I'm just pouring in the grits. And I'm gonna make sure that it is all whisked in. And then I'm gonna turn this to low. And I'm gonna cover it, and we'll check it every few minutes. Usually these grits take about 15 to 20 minutes. Here I have just some olive oil and just a little bit of butter. And we are going to take our peppers and our onions. And I'm gonna put a little bit of salt, sea salt. And some cracked pepper. You know, we forget about that even when we're cooking onions or peppers and celery, that we still need to make sure that we season everything. So we're just going to cook these until they get soft. To the grits, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm checking it to make sure that the grits are not sticking to the bottom. And so we're going to take the peppers and the onions. We're going to take them out. They're nice and tender. And I'm using my cookware from Cedric Frazier. I will definitely put his information in the notes. I have a beautiful 3-piece set, and they all come with tops, and look at that. I feel so special and so creative, and a little bit of whimsy using his cookware. Okay, so we're gonna let this cool. In the meantime, let's get the rest of our ingredients together. So here we have our salmon, of course, that's been picked. I am using breadcrumbs only because I realized I don't have any flour. So this is about a 1/2 cup. So I think I'm only gonna use maybe 1/4 cup of that. We have some paprika. We're just gonna sprinkle on there. Some onion powder. No, that's garlic powder. Here's my onion powder. Onion powder. Of course, you gotta have some pepper. Some salt. I think before I even do that, I'm gonna mix it just a little bit. It's looking good. Some salt. Some lemon juice from this lemon. Just a little bit. Let me wipe my hands. It smells delicious. We're gonna put in our egg. And if you watch any of my videos, you know that I always crack the egg and put it in separately, because that's how I was taught in 8th grade in home economics, just in case there was something wrong with the egg, because that's what was happening back in 1978. Not to tell my age, but that was it. We have our Dijon mustard that I did not put in, so I just put in a little bit of that. And there was one more thing. Oh yeah, the mustard powder. So I'm just gonna mix all that in. And I'm checking for the consistency of the mixture. Our vegetables have cooled, so I am adding those into the mixture. And it is looking like this. And lastly, I'm going to add our parsley. Always pay attention to the colors. I always say that we eat with our five senses. And the first sense, most of the time, is sight. If it's not smell, it's sight. So we want it to look appealing. It looks like this. So let's get ready to fry these up, or pan fry. We're going to pan fry them. We are paying attention to our grits. I put a little bit more heavy whipping cream because I want that consistency right there before I add the cheese. You can put any type of cheese you want. I usually use cheddar cheese, but these are about done. I usually always wait until the grits are done before I put the cheese in. And then we just stir it in. And if we want to add a little bit more liquid, whether it's water or whether it's heavy cream, remember we seasoned it with the bouillon cubes, so it will be fine. Oh, deliciousness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that off the stove because those are complete. And we're going to get back to our salmon packs. So I'm just going to play this by ear. And hopefully I'll make them all the same size. What I have here is a pan of the breading that I'm just going to place it on like that. I have a little bit of olive oil ready. You can roll these into balls. You can broil them. You can bake them. But we are going to pan fry them. And they shouldn't take long because everything is really cooked. So we just want to pan fry them until they are golden brown. This is my son's favorite, so when he walks in the door, he is going to be so happy. But I have a friend who's a caterer. Her name is Rhonda Baker, and she's helped me a lot since I started cooking, since I wrote my cookbook. But to him, she has the best salmon cakes. And he's in his 30s now, but he remembers being a teenager. And we used to have breakfast at church between services. And one of his favorite things was to go upstairs between services and get Rhonda Baker's salmon cakes. So I never asked her for a recipe because I am not trying to compete with her because she is in a category all by herself, and she's helped me out so much. So whenever we have salmon cakes or I make them, we always end up talking about her. That is so funny to me. You know, you like what you like. Okay, so we have all our cakes done, and I'm just gonna coat them in this seasoning, and we are going to go ahead and fry them up. Okay, so we are all ready to pan fry our salmon cakes. I put them in the refrigerator so that they would not fall apart because they were still a little warm. I covered them in the breading that I showed you, the seafood breading. And now we are just putting them in. And this is what they're looking like when they're flipped over. Ooh, look at here. Look at here. Look how beautiful. And it smells delicious. Just looking for a fork. And the grits are so smooth and delicious. The salmon cakes, or croquettes, or whatever you want to call them, delicious. It's just a burst of flavor. And that's one thing I've learned about cooking is you have to layer your flavors, because in order for them to burst, you have to add them in at different times during the cooking process. So if you put all the ingredients all together at once, like you do in baking, it doesn't have the same result. But when you layer your flavors and you layer what you put on and you layer what you do, it literally just bursts into your mouth. Thank you so much for watching this episode of For the Love of Cooking Fridays. Again, my name is Beverly Lucas, and all I am trying to do is trying to show you how to save your money, cook in your own kitchen, because the recipes that I share with you are all better than the restaurant. I cannot go to a restaurant and taste this like I've made it. So if I can do it, you can do it too. So thank you for taking this little journey with me, and I will see you next week for the next episode of something really good for you to try. This is Beverly Lucas, and I'm signing off.